Oi girls and boys and everything in between, it's Ace Trainer Liam back with another episode of Form Fight. Form Fight is a series where we take a look at a Pokemon with more than one form or a branched evolution or counterpart Pokemon. We take a look at the differences between those forms and try and work out which one is the best. And so we can see these Pokemon in action on the battlefield. We also have a Metronome battle between the different Pokemon in question just for a little bit of fun. If you're a fan of Form Fight and you're ready for more, make sure you hit the like button to show your appreciation for the series, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. But with all that out of the way, let's have a look at today's challenges. Today we're going to be comparing the two forms of Gardevoir and Mega Gardevoir. Now, upon evolving from a Curlier, your Gardevoir will always be in its normal, regular form. However, a Gardevoir holding Gardevoirite in battle will be able to Mega evolve into Mega Gardevoir. But what makes these two forms so different? Let's take a look. According to the Pokedex, both forms of Gardevoir stand at 1.6 meters tall and they both weigh 48.4 kilograms. They both share a Pokedex entry which reads, Gardevoir has the ability to read the future. If it senses impending danger to its trainer, this Pokemon is said to unleash its psychokinetic energy at full power. Gardevoir has the psychokinetic power to distort the dimensions and create a small black hole. This Pokemon will try to protect its trainer even at the risk of its own life. Looking at these Pokemon appearance-wise, they both have a very humanoid, effeminate look to them, even though of course this Pokemon can be male or female, but it just appears to resemble almost like an alien woman wearing a dress. That's basically the overall look for Gardevoir, and even with Mega Gardevoir, it just has a fancier dress, more like a bridal kind of dress. That's really the main difference between these two Pokemon. When we look at their shiny forms, these Pokemon both change their green areas to a more kind of bluish color. The blade kind of things on their chests turn from a pinkish color to a more orange color, and of course for Mega Gardevoir, the white dress turns to a black dress. Now let's have a look at the typing, weaknesses and resistances of these Pokemon forms. Both these forms of Gardevoir share the exact same typing, both being dual-type Psychic and Fairy Pokemon, which makes them both weak to Poison, Ghost and Steel-type attacks. They both resist Fighting and Psychic-type attacks, and they both have complete immunity to Dragon-type moves. Now let's take a look at the stats and abilities of these Pokemon. From the get-go, it's easy to see that Gardevoir is a very adept special attacker, boasting massive special attack, as well as impressive special defense and a decent speed stat. Its attack and defense and HP aren't really anything to scream about, but that's not really what Gardevoir's there for. Its primary ability is Synchronize, where if it's induced with a status condition such as poison, paralysis, a burn, or sleep, it will automatically give the same status condition to the opponent that caused the status condition. This can be very effective when you're against an opponent whose entire strategy is based on using one of these status conditions. So if someone's strategy is to put you to sleep and then use something like Dream Eater, being put to sleep itself is not a part of that strategy and therefore can be a great disruption. Gardevoir's secondary ability is Trace, where it simply, at the start of a battle upon switching in, copies the ability of the opponent. I like this ability because it does create interesting scenarios. For example, a Gardevoir against a Lapras could end up with Water Absorb, and then Lapras doesn't really have much to use against Gardevoir. The only problem with this ability is, again, building a competitive strategy, you don't want to leave anything to chance, so you want to know what your ability is going to be before entering a battle. You don't want it to just be luck of the draw, oh, I've ended up in a battle and now my Gardevoir has the Klutz ability, or something like that. Gardevoir's hidden ability is Telepathy, which prevents Gardevoir from taking damage from an ally's move. So for example, if your ally is a Pokemon that uses Surf or uses Boom Burst, normally that would also damage your ally as well as the opponent's. But in this case, if Gardevoir is that ally and has the Telepathy ability, it won't take any damage from that spread move. This is a very handy ability because Gardevoir is quite a fragile Pokemon when it comes to physical defense, so when you have something like Earthquake, you don't really want to be hitting Gardevoir with that. As for Mega Gardevoir, stats-wise, its stats are pretty much the same, except most of the extra power that comes with Mega Evolution is used to pump up that already impressive special attack. The decent speed stat becomes a great speed stat, and the special defense also gets a decent increase as well. Weirdly as well, Gardevoir's attack stat goes up, but not to a level where you're going to start building a physical Mega Gardevoir, so I really don't quite get the point of that, but you know what, Gardevoir, you do you. Mega Gardevoir only has access to one ability, and that is Pixelate, which increases the power of normal type moves by 20%, but then also changes them to the fairy type which means that they also get a stab boost from Gardevoir's fairy typing and therefore inflict so much more damage. This is an incredible ability when you consider Gardevoir's main move of choice is gonna be things like Hyper Voice, where now it becomes a 20% boosted stab fairy type move. It just creates a terrifying Pokemon in Mega Gardevoir because you add this ability to that already impressive special attack stat, and suddenly moves that you wouldn't have expected to have to be worried about are suddenly massive threats to you and your Pokemon. Now it's time for me to decide which of these two Pokemon forms I prefer, and granted, I'm not the biggest fan of either of them, but if I have to choose one, I'm gonna go with the Mega, because that special attack stat is absolutely phenomenal, and given the option of a telepathy regular Gardevoir or even a synchronized regular Gardevoir, between those choices and the choice of a pixelate Mega Gardevoir with those huge stats, with that decent speed stat, like, I'm gonna go for the power. I'm gonna go for where the power is, and the power is in Mega Gardevoir. I don't really have any interest in these Pokemon looks-wise. Like, I don't like the look of either of them. I'm not the biggest humanoid Pokemon fan, so I don't really care appearance-wise. This is one of the few times in Form Fight where I'm not choosing a Pokemon based on how it looks. I'm going, this one's stronger, I like this one, so it's Mega Gardevoir for me. But of course, it's not just up to me, it's up to you guys as well to decide which is your favourite. But before you do, let's have a look at these Pokemon on the battlefield. It's time for the Metronome battle. As always, I'll point out before we start, these Pokemon have max IVs in all stats, 0 EVs in all stats. Gardevoir has its hidden ability, Mega Gardevoir has its regular, the only ability it can have. They're not holding any items, they've all got neutral natures, they're all the same type. The only difference that gives anyone an advantage or a disadvantage here is the base stats of the Pokemon. Everything else is all up to the Metronome. Let's go. Break out the tissues, it's time for the internet's favourite Pokemon, Gardevoir, and its Mega form, Mega Gardevoir. The battle to see just who's the better Gardevoir, I suppose. There's no real, I don't know what the stakes are in this battle, apart from the fact that who's got the prettier dress, I guess. Here's a splash from Mega Gardevoir, quietly confident. I think Mega Gardevoir thinks it's got this battle won already. What is regular Mega Gardevoir going to do? Moonlight at full HP, so they're just messing with the regular Gardevoir team here. Don't see them as much of a threat. But here comes a Sludge attack. There's your threat for you. That did massive damage onto Shiny Mega Gardevoir from the get-go. The regular team is not messing about. Here's an Electro Ball. It's going to be on Shiny Mega Gardevoir, doing a little bit more chip damage, but wow, Shiny Mega Gardevoir is already almost at half HP. They need to be careful. They need to start actually attacking. Goes for Ally Switch, which is just going to swap places with its ally, which is pointless because it's a double battle. So if it was a triple battle, this would make a difference, but it doesn't. Here we see a Retaliate from regular Mega Gardevoir, doing a huge amount of damage to regular Gardevoir. Oh my goodness. What's the return gonna be? String Shot, gonna try and slow down the Mega team. Interesting. So they're both gonna drop their speed harshly there, so they're at -2 speed already. Is that going to give the advantage to the regular team now, as we see Shiny regular Gardevoir going for Nightshade? It's going to do 50 damage, but 50 damage is still a decent amount in this battle. Look at that, over a quarter of regular Mega Gardevoir's HP has gone. And here we see the regular team are able to move first now after that String Shot, and there's an Iron Defense to raise the defense sharply, so +2 defense for Shiny regular Gardevoir. Here's normal Gardevoir going for Bubble, which is going to hit both the Megas for a little bit of chip damage, but we do see Shiny Mega is now under half HP. Here's regular Mega with a Tailwind, going to get their speed back up. Not one to be slowed down. They've just put their speed right back up for the next few turns. Here's Shiny Mega with Doom Desire. Oh my goodness, that is going to be absolutely devastating. Here we see, oh, Shiny again because of that Tailwind, going straight out again. Metal Sound onto regular Gardevoir there. Gonna give it that horrible drop. In special defense, -2 special defense is not what you want, Gardevoir, because your physical defense is bad enough. Here's a gunk shot, oh my goodness, from regular Mega Gardevoir onto shiny regular, taking it down to almost half HP. That's the kind of attack you need to bring out. You need to take your opponent seriously. Here's shiny regular going for Flare Blitz. It will take recoil damage, but luckily... Oh my god, I was going to say luckily it's not a very strong physical attacker, but then remember that both forms of Gardevoir have pretty garbage physical defense. Here's a Volt Tackle, another move. Oh, one of the Megas goes down already. Regular Mega Gardevoir goes down already after that Volt Tackle. There's the recoil from that Volt Tackle. Everyone's at less than half HP, but we're down 1 Mega. This is what happens when you underestimate your opponents. There's a Mach Punch, that is 4 times resisted, so that did absolutely... zilch there. Here's regular Gardevoir going for Dragon Tail. It is, of course, ineffective against Mega Gardevoir because all these Pokemon are immune to Dragon-type moves. Topsy-turvy. All the stat changes on Mega Gardevoir are going to be reversed. Doesn't that mean its speed's now back up? Here's the Doom Desire attack from earlier, which absolutely, oh my god, knocks out the regular Gardevoir. It's down to the Battle of the Shinies at this point. There was no getting up from that Doom Desire. That was crazy. Yep, Mega Gardevoir's back to being the fastest, back to being in charge. Goes for Roar of Time, but it's a Dragon-type move. Completely ineffective. What is Shiny Regular going to do at this point? Goes for Roar. You can't remove someone from one of these battles. The Tailwind has petered out, but I'm pretty sure Mega, yep, because of that Topsy-Turvy, is the faster Pokemon. What's it got in mind? Goes for Electrify. Now that's interesting. That's going to electrify the moves of that regular Shiny Gardevoir. What's it going to do in response? It's going to go for Fairy Lock, because that's not pointless. Well done, mate. Come on, why Fairy Lock? It's a lovely animation, but it's really not helpful in any of these battles. No one's going to be trying to escape. And here we see Thunder. That's going to do massive damage with that special attack stat from Mega Shiny Gardevoir. And it takes down Gardevoir. The Megas have done it. Wow, I thought they were overconfident in the beginning, but they absolutely floored it. So well done to the Mega team. So you've heard what I've got to say, you've seen these Pokemon in action on the battlefield, now it's time for you to decide which of these two forms of Gardevoir is your favourite. Is it regular Gardevoir? Is it Mega Gardevoir? Let me know in the comments below and explain to everybody why your pick is the absolute best. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, it helps me out massively, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new with notifications on so you never miss an episode of Form Fight. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam, keep on training.